And we're live. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. My name is Oluseyi Lala, and you're welcome to Achiever Zone. This is the second episode of Achiever Zone. We had a first episode last month with Dr. Nicholas, where we talked about fear as an obstacle to achieving goals and targets. Today is a special day. Today, because February is a month of love, we're talking about relationship, marriage, and love. And I'm happy to introduce three people to you. Firstly, my wife, Olayemi Lala.
Yay.
And our first couple guests, Dammy and Sola Omotosho. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Hi, thank you. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and
Good.
good evening,
So,
wherever you are. Hello.
yeah, fine. So the reason why I had to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening is because we're actually on opposite sides of the world. We are based in Nigeria. The OMOTOSHOs are in Australia. So it's a huge sacrifice for them to be able to join us at this time. I think it's early hours on your side. So thank you very much for waking up to join us and have this. It's late night on our side. So thank you very much for staying up late as well to join me.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thank you everyone. So the topic today, as I've previously announced, is sweet and godly marriage tips and tricks. So because the month of February is dedicated to love, because Valentine's Day and all of that, happy Valentine's Day, by the way, to everyone. That's why we
Thank you.
decided to bring the couple in. They're my very good friends, they're our friends. And we just sit down and relax, have a couple of slides that we're going to use to guide us in this conversation, and then we'll just talk about our marriage, our experience. And the truth of the matter is, based on my last post about this, we're talking about close to 34 years of marriage sitting down here. We have been married for 19 years, to be 19 years this year, and I believe the OMOTOSHOs will be 15 years this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So we're talking about close to 34 years of marriage experience sitting on this table. So, guys, get your pen, get your paper. Tips and tricks, golden nuggets are going to be dropping left, right, and center. And then we'll wrap up at the end of the day with some message for singles, especially on Valentine's Day, and things you can do to get yourself ready for a relationship. So, thank you guys for joining. We'll go through a quick introduction. I'll start from here. Everybody knows me anyway. My name is Oluseyi Lala. And like I said, this is my wife.
My name is Yemi Lala.
Okay. And Shola on your side.
All right, my name is Shola Omotosho.
And my name is Dammy Omotosho.
Okay, great. So let's go straight to the slides. Like I said, we're talking about sweet, godly marriage tips and tricks. And the first thing we want to do, which we've done already, is introductions. A quick question. How did you guys meet?
Okay. um, Let me throw it back to 2006. I was in my final year at the Polytechnic Ibadan, and I remember it very well. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I think I was doing something
Wow.
outside in the hotel, and Shola he just walked towards me with his friend, and he came directly to me. I think they came to greet my roommates. So Shola came
Are
to
you
me and
serious?
yeah. So he introduced himself to me that my name is Shola Omotosho, and that caught my attention because my maiden name is Omotesho. So I was like, oh, that
Wow.
sounds very close. My name is Dami Omotesho. And he was like, oh, I know another Dami Omotesho. So he described the person to me, and I was like, oh, that's my cousin. And
Wow.
from there we just started talking, and I went inside. I was frying akara that day, and I offered him some, and he accepted.
Mm.
From there we just got talking. Naturally, my kind of person, I'm naturally attracted to intelligent guys. Even all my friends that are boys, they have to be intelligent. I don't, it's just one thing about me. So I got talking with him and I said, oh, this guy is actually very intelligent. And from there we became friends. And yeah, here we are today. So that's how we met. Do you want to add anything?
Oh yes, I
So
was
you know the
actually.
reason why.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Shay.
go ahead, Shola.
Yeah, I was just
No,
gonna
no,
say,
you go
well,
ahead. Complete your story because I have something similar that I want to talk about.
yeah. So I remember that very day on a Sunday, myself and my friend Biola, we were on our way to visit someone else, and we stopped by in Dammy's room because our roommate was Biola's friend, and um, one thing led to the other in terms of talking. And then the next thing I remember is I was supposed to be in another room, but I spent a long time talking to Dami. And from that day, I actually knew that I needed Dami as my friend. And of course, we spent a couple of next few years as friends. But it all started on that day. My background, I wouldn't even eat anything, on first date, seeing someone, meeting someone for the first time. That day I didn't know what happened. I
Yeah,
actually so well,
you
the
ate,
rest is
you ate,
history.
you ate.
I'm still eating too now.
You're still eating. You know the reason why I exclamated and said, "Are you serious?" Because that same story is similar to ours, right? I don't remember the actual day, the day of the week, but it was November 16th, 1998. I went with my friend to see her mate, right?
In Olori
In
Hall as
Olori
well.
Hall, Polytechnic Ibadan.
Oh, mine
And
was
her
Unity
roommate was
Hall.
not in. Can you imagine? Her roommate was not in, so she was the one that opened the door. And the moment she opened the door, I did the sign of the cross, and I'm like, wow, I've seen an angel. And that was how we started. And we started
Wow.
talking and all of that. Even my friend that brought me to her, we left him sitting on the other side, and we're just talking. And from one thing to the other, we kept talking and all of that. And it was a week to her birthday, so she invited me for her birthday the next week. And then I came
Mm.
in, of course, with the gift and everything. My friend also came and we did the birthday. And she gave me 100% attention, even on her birthday. That people were like, you guys are standing outside talking. The party is happening inside. What's happening? And from there, 19 years later, so that's why I exclamated when I was like, Polytechnic Ibadan,
Wow.
you went to see a roommate, and all of that. So it's kind of similar. So another question that I actually wanted to ask that came to my mind was for Shola in particular. You said
Mm.
that from that day you knew she was the one. How did you know?
Well, so there is something about that you can't explain, the peace that comes with knowing.
Yeah,
That's number one. Number
right.
two, the place of preparation. The place of
Mm,
preparation. So years before then, I've actually prepared myself.
right.
I study a lot. I read about particular topics that will be good for my future. So I've actually prepared in
Mm,
terms of reading, in terms of preparation, in terms of praying, in terms of really um, looking at who, in terms of course, physical appearance, godly
right, right,
ambience, and all those things. And the piece that came when I met Danny kind of aligned with that. So it's
right,
difficult to explain, but I know within me, I know in my spirit that yes, this is it. And of course, I just needed the next few years to really make sure that I wasn't really dreaming, or I wasn't
right,
really fantasizing, and that's what I did. Yeah.
right,
So yeah,
right.
that's it.
Excellent. So I mean, my answer is similar to yours. So again, I had been praying 4 years before I met her, praying about my future and all of those things. So the moment I saw her, just like you said, that peace was just in
Mm,
my heart. As in, it was just like you have met the person. Because the reason I asked that question is recently, I don't know if you are aware of it, but there's a Nigerian music gospel artist called Moses Bliss that recently got engaged, right? And the story came out about the fact that he saw this lady, the lady he got engaged to, post a video of her dancing to his song. And he said that the moment he saw her dancing to that song, he knew, So that was a friend of mine who was now commenting on it on Facebook. And, somebody was asking, how do you know as a guy? How do you know, and things like that. And I tried to answer that question by saying, look, God instituted marriage, right? If you go through Genesis 1 and 2 and 3, where it was talking about it, there was a time that God said it's not good for man to be alone. So God was behind the thought of getting a helpmeet for Adam, right? And in that process, God brought all the different animals to Adam to name them. And at that point, the Bible says Adam did not find a helpmeet. So that means God brought a lion, a tiger, a gorilla, a monkey, and Adam was like, I'm not doing, this is not the person. And it got to a point that God now said, okay, you know what? Of all my creation, you can't find anyone. Then I need to make one more creation. And that's where Adam slept, and God brought out the bone and created Eve. And Adam said something the moment God presented Eve. He said, now this is the bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
Yep.
Adam cannot explain, but he just knew that this is the person, because this person looks exactly like me, and that's it. So that was what I explained, on social media for that person. And the person was not like, okay, so he means he has to prepare, he has to pray. I said, yes. For a godly marriage, you need to prepare, ask God the right questions, pray about your future. There's something about praying in advance about your future and allowing God to orchestrate your moves. And that's why I was surprised when you gave your story about the fact that he came with his friend to see your roommate. And that's exactly what happened to me. In fact, that day I didn't feel like going anywhere because I was running 2 schools at the same time. I was busy. I didn't have time. I wasn't in the social circle at all. But my friend insisted. I said, look, just follow me. I want to go and see somebody in Olori Hall. And when we got there, it happens to be our roommate, and she was not around. And she was the one that opened the door, and the rest is history, So that's why I wanted to ask about that, in terms of just understanding how you got to know, because it's a very good thing for a man. I know the ladies have their own way of confirming, because she did not say yes immediately. It took her 7 years, even though she didn't say no. She didn't say no, but she didn't actually say yes. She was just like, let's just see how it goes. So I was back and forth for 7 years. You can imagine. But we finally landed it by the grace of God.
But you had lots of encouragement from everyone around me.
Yes. Well, that's true. Actually,
everyone was on his side, on his case. He had
her
so many
mom,
people
her sisters, her
pleading
friends were
his
like,
case, so you were fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're in good hands. You understand. You understand that eventually it's going to be right.
Absolutely. Okay, so we know love is in the air. It's Valentine's Day. So let's go quickly to the questions. And I'll ask you guys, whoever wants to answer can answer. What is a godly relationship or a godly marriage? How can you define it from your perspective?
Well, for me, I would say a godly relationship or a godly marriage is, let me use the word relationship. The foundation is based on God. Like everything has God in it. You start with God, you keep going with God, you end with God. You pray together, you study the word of God together. I'm a very practical person. Like when I met Shola, part of the things we did together, or he even initiated it. Like I'm from a good Christian home, but I would say Shola's family, they are more like Christian, Christian,
as in hot.
yeah, and that's Shola for you. Shola might be the kind of guy that is career focused, but when it comes to the place of prayers, geez, is fire. It goes all out. And the first question I asked myself when I saw that part of me, I was like, this is not what I want to enter into. This guy is too extreme with prayers. Shola can just say, Dammy, we are doing 5 days fasting. Somebody I'm not even married to, I'll be like, for what? I don't have time. I can't come and kill myself. But
right.
he is like that. And there's this program they do in Ibadan then when I was at Poly Ibadan, Takuti Jason by Femi Emmanuel.
Right.
So he will say on Friday, I think it's on Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock, he would say, meet me at this church. We need to pray together. We need to hold hands. And, my mom got to know that I started going to a church. She would see me praying. Like I pray normally, but she saw the way I
Right.
started praying. And my mom told me that whoever you are moving with that has changed you, just stay with the person.
Right.
And those are the
Right.
things that actually made me more convinced that I had peace, that this is the guy. I shouldn't be looking for a guy that is all about fashion,
Mm.
cars, things like that. This
Mm.
is the real life. This is a guy that knows God and is working towards his spiritual growth, his mental growth, or all round holistic
All
growth.
round.
you
Mm.
know he Everything is about God. He buys books for me that are about Nikki Adeyemi. I have so many books, even though we're not married, but everything was all about God. And we don't, it's not that he just buys the book for me, I read it. No, I will read
And then
it.
you
He
discuss.
will read it. We sit together. We review. It's a serious business. So we take the Bible, like, and there's always days we fast as well. It got to a point, my
Mm.
friends would ask me then, Dammy, are you sure? This one that you've changed, everything is about going to church, praying together. Everything just changed about me. My mindset changed. And I want to believe those are the things, that solid foundation in Christ, those are the
Mm.
things that has helped me in this, that has helped us so far in this marriage, and that is still
Mm.
helping us. Marriage is not all bed of roses. There are days of
Absolutely.
challenge, but looking back, I always remember how we started, the prayers we prayed together, the things we did together, and we still go back to, even sometimes when we quarrel and it's really hot, Shala will just be like, Dammy, remember those days? And I'll just
Mm.
calm down. So it's
Mm.
still working. That is what godly marriage, marriage that is based on God, relationship that is based on God. It just takes you back to the beginning.
Right.
And what is the
Yeah.
beginning? Jesus. And what
Mm.
else do you need when your husband says,
Mm.
remember those days? Everything just settles. Yeah.
Yeah. So the key word here is the foundation. Actually, the foundation. Uh,
Absolutely.
Let me
Right.
just tell the story of how we started. For the records, that church, none of us go there. I don't go to
Faith.
Living Springs. Living
Living
Springs. She
Springs.
doesn't go.
Right.
But I used to work at Jericho around that time. She schools at Songo area, Ijeko area. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, where can we meet in the middle? And then I found out. And then I found out that, oh, this program is actually praying in Yoruba. And I said, okay, let's just meet there. So my
Mm.
lunchtime on Friday, she doesn't have classes. So let's meet there. And then we meet there and then we do what we need to do. And then she got to know that, oh, there are the so-called big girls in Polybad are there praying. And he's like, if these ones are praying, why am I not praying?
Why am I?
And
Right.
I
Right.
think a lot of things, about, and that's it. So foundation is very, very
Mm.
key. And of course, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? And from there.
Mm. So, I mean, thank you so much for that. I don't know if you have any definition you want to give, because I have one in mind.
No, I think they said it all. But
Right.
what I wanted to say was that based on what you said, I think that is the why it is important to have a godly relationship and marriage. The why is because so that your foundation
Mm.
will not be warped. If your foundation is solid, you have something to always fall back on. Like when he'll remind you, remember the things of old,
Mm.
this and
Mm.
that, you'll just always take you back. And then when you have sowed seeds in prayers, it goes forward into your future and germinates and brings back peace to
Mm.
you.
Mm.
Because at the end of it, when you have challenges, you will always have peace at the end of it, because you'll be able to resolve it, you will be able to overcome anything that comes your way, and together.
Right. Right. So the definition I wanted to give about what a godly relationship is or a godly marriage is very simple. It's a relationship or marriage that God starts, that God sustains as well. And I'm being intentional about this because the times we're in, all that is happening, the distortion and everything. That's why I'm so happy that we could call upon you as a godly, friend of ours, a couple that is married, established on Christ, and we can give this example. So it is actually intentional. I could have said sweet marriage, but I wanted to insist on the fact that it has to be godly because based on our testimony, God is the foundation. Everything started on God, and God is sustaining it up till now. Like I said, we have about 34 years of marriage between us. So if God has been faithful and sustained us this far, we're trusting and sure that He will take us all the way. And those are the things that we want to highlight. So this is really intentional, and I thank you so much for rising up to the call and joining us to do this. So we've stylishly answered the why as well, just like my wife said, that if the foundation is there, down the line when you have issues, it gives you a solid place to come back to. And like Dammy said, issues will come. Marriage is not a bed of roses. So we're not kidding anybody to say, oh, everything is lovey-dovey. There are times that we fight, and a serious fight, but we always come back to the origin to say, remember how we started. I can tell you there are times that we fight, and I take the car keys, I go out, and I want to drive off. And the Holy Spirit will just remind me, like, Sheyi, you waited 7 years for this person. You prayed for 4 years to get this person. That's a total of 11 years. Do you want to just waste 11 years on something that you're annoyed with? And it calms me down immediately. I'll just drop the key and go and sit down. We still have struggles. We're not 100%, there, but God has helped us so far. And that's the point for this, to highlight the godly part of this marriage and relationship. So thank you so much for that. So let's go on to the next slide, right? And now we're going to be talking about tips and tricks. So again, if you don't have your notepad, go and get your notepad and start writing stuff, because golden nuggets are going to drop, right? So first off is about love languages, right? We have ours. We've discussed it ourselves. But just for the sake of those that are out there that might not know about it, this is a concept from Dr. Gary Chapman. He wrote about the love language, and there are 5 of them based on his research about human behavior, relationship, and all of that. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts. Most ladies like that. Quality time, physical touch. So we have our own as a married couple. I know what mine is, right? She knows ours. And then when we got together, we kind of explained, so that the whole idea is that you must speak the love language of your spouse. The same way 2 people speaking different languages will not communicate, right? For communication to happen, we must all align on our love languages. And that's the whole essence of this. So this is a particular tip, for a godly marriage. Understand your love language. We have different love tanks, and it needs to be filled. For me personally, right, words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch is my love language. For her, do you want to say?
No, you say.
So for her, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts. And that's hers, right? So I also have to do something when it comes to that. So things like act of service, I help out in the kitchen, I help with the kids. I remember when the kids were younger, when she's cooking and bathing the kids, and she appreciates that a lot. Of course, receiving gifts, right? I buy stuff and all of that. Quality time, just like Shola mentioned, Dammy rather, that Shola is a busy person. I'm also busy, with the kind of work I do and all of that. But she insists on quality time. So there are times that we say, kids, we go and drop them somewhere else and we go out on our own, just the 2 of us. Or sometimes it's a family outing, but we ensure that we touch base. So that has to do with our love language. I don't know if you want to share anything from your side.
Would you like to start? Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely there are we have love languages as well, and I think I'm just gonna start on for Dammy. Yeah. So Dammy really words of affirmation, definitely, and receiving gifts as well. Quality time is very, very important to her, and act of service, because I cannot undermine the service she's really putting into this marriage from day one, even up till now.
Mm,
And well, physical touch. Now you can just imagine that I just went through everything. One thing that we discovered and we discussed very early is to lead a very balanced life in terms of what we do.
right.
It touches everything. But if I want to talk about the top three, I would say it was of affirmation, receiving gift, and quality time. What Dami really, really, really takes and we have a way of doing this. For example, every single day when we leave on to our different work, I work mostly from home. She has to go to the office because of the kind of work job she does. She
Mm,
sends me SMSs. We exchange SMSs, right?
right.
That's about, and those SMSs are very powerful. Whatever we do, where our kids are at that stage where there are a lot of activities, and we just need to raise our hands up to say, this is what we're going to do to support, and this is what we're going to do for each other. Everybody in the family, we as parents, the kids, have what they do, and it's their contribution.
Mm.
Gift, I learned that the hard way, Shay. So in the early days, I used to buy a lot of books. My gift, I'm gifting, is books, books, books. And like Dami said earlier
Books,
on,
books. Yeah.
honestly, she doesn't only have to read a book, we have to review it together. And so I was just more like, this guy, one day,
Project manager.
one day she just told me, what's this kind? What's this thing? I just buy books and books and books. I really appreciate it, but that is not the only thing. And then I
Right.
remember my very first gift outside. So I still bought my book anyway, but I had a
Can you
chocolate.
imagine?
I had a chocolate. I had a wristwatch, a very cheap wristwatch.
Right.
You will know these all
Yeah.
those are boutique kind of wristwatch in those days.
I
You
know.
know.
I know. I know.
Now
So
I
so
bought
that's
this gift.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bought
Go
this
ahead. Go
gift,
ahead.
and then she shared the chocolate to her cousins. I was like, come on, this is what I went to Agbo Shopping Center to buy this, and then you shared it in front of me. And then, but I saw
Can
that
you
she
imagine?
cherished the wristwatch so much. And so, of course,
Yeah.
I can't remember how many wristwatches, how many other things I bought. But that's just the beginning of
Right.
really knowing what she appreciates and what, you know, despite the fact that I know what I wanted to buy every time, I also put that in consideration. Yeah. And so I'm just gonna keep quiet there so that you can add to what I just said.
Yeah, you've said it all, but Shola doesn't know this, but this is the first time I'll be telling him. At the moment now, the best thing Shola can do for me, he does it once in a blue moon. And whenever he does that thing, my soul prays for him. Like I'm always so happy
Wow.
when you fill up the tank of my car. Oh my God. It's the
Wow.
best gift. I would say it's one of the best gifts I can ever receive from him. So thank you, even though it's
Wow.
once, maybe twice in a year.
Well, now he
Now
knows.
he
now,
He's
knows.
gonna do it every week.
now I know. So I can't drive Danny's car without filling the tank. So I need to drive your car more so that I can fill the tank.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so whenever he drives my car, he fills up the tank, and when I go into the car and I just see that,
And you see
see
the
that,
full tag, man.
oh my God,
Your
my
love
head
tank
will
is
go down,
full.
down, down.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Then I
That's
would say,
fantastic. That's fantastic.
yeah. Then I would say words of affirmation. I'm big on that. And it's something I started being intentional about because of the nature of his work. He's very, very
Mm,
busy. So sometimes I would say in a day, we might not really get to talk as I would want us to talk. So,
right.
I may be at work and I'll just be like, oh, and I miss this guy. And I've noticed the pattern with the devil. That's the devil at work. And
Right.
that devil will come and will start suggesting things in my head. You are lonely, you are this, he's always busy. So when that thought comes to my mind, immediately I take up my phone and I'll start
Mm.
sending prayer messages to him, love messages to him. And that has
Right.
been helping me to silence whatever devil that would always come into my head and start suggesting things to me. So he's hearing it for the first time too, but it's just a coping mechanism for me to silence the devil and
Mm.
reassure myself that even though my husband is busy, he still loves me. And I would say, oh, Shala, I love you so much. And he would also respond immediately. So that's what
Mm.
has been working for me. And that was why I started that words of affirmation. Then I'll say acts of service. Shala is always very helpful. If he has time if he has time, he will. He's a homeboy. Like he's well trained. I always tell him he's
So we
well
need to
trained.
give kudos to mommy and daddy.
Yes,
Eh?
I always praise him. Oh, I no, I always praise his mom. I would say, Shola, that like you are well trained. For me, if I'm cleaning the house, for me, if I'm cleaning the house, I will just sweep, sweep. But if Shola cleans the house, he will
You
carry all the chairs,
carry
he will go
everything,
under,
sweep under.
he will climb the
Eh.
roof. You know how those thorough cleaning is like that.
Yeah.
When Shola cleans bathroom for you, he will enter, he will do like this. He will so he is very thorough with things like that. He does whatever Shola does, he does it well. So that's one thing
Absolutely.
about him. Yeah, he's top notch when it comes to acts of service. He's improving with quality time. We're trying to create dates nights because he's busy. So
Right.
it's something we struggle with, but we are also intentional about it to have date nights. And there are some days I will just close his laptop on his face. That
I
come
say,
on,
come on,
let's
let's go somewhere. Thank you,
let's go.
Jerry.
I'll use that agility for him. Like I
Yeah.
know go. And whenever I do that, it gets the message. Like there was something that
Mm.
happened recently. You know how the beginning of the year, I think men are big on having a vision board and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was really into that thing. He posted it everywhere in the house, and we even have it in the bedroom. And so that day we were about, doing the other the other
Oh, that's
routine.
true.
And I just
Yes.
saw that his face drifted to the vision board.
To
I
the
was so
vision
angry.
board again.
I was so angry.
I guess
I was
that
so
vision board is gone now.
I was like, you need to remove this thing from the don't let it distract
I
this
was
time.
I was fulfilling an item on the vision board.
No, please.
Wait, is she on that vision board?
He said
I'm
he's
there.
fulfilling an item on the
Prominently.
vision board.
Like, okay,
Yemi,
now, all right.
That was what he told me that day. He said, I was you can see yourself in the vision board. So I'm just seeing that, yes, that is being achieved
Okay,
now.
all right, all right.
So
Yeah,
I mean
so
that's fantastic, and
yeah.
I like the way we've drifted because it goes straight into the next point about the married triangle, and you said something about not allowing the devil in, and that's what the triangle is about. It is about God, the husband, and the wife, and nobody else. Not even your parents, not even your family members. It's just the three of you. And there's something the Bible says about a threefold cord that it cannot be easily broken. So that's the whole idea of the marriage triangle, and that's another tip that we want to drop here. And if you look at that diagram there, you'll see God at the top, and then the husband and the wife, and the arrows show you that the more each person is trying to get to God, the closer you get to one another. And that's basically a principle that we have used. And I mean, you've given examples of how you have individually sorted God and how you do it jointly and all of that. That's another tip for a sweet and a godly marriage, where again God is the foundation and God is the sustainer of that marriage. So this is very important, and I thank you for highlighting that, because if you look at the story of the Bible, things went south when the devil got into the situation, and that's how God's plan about marriage, went, all right. So the whole idea is that it must be just three people: God, the husband, and the wife, and then the threefold cord cannot be easily broken, and that's the tip that we want to draw. So let's just move on to the next one, and I like this one in particular. I'm going to let my wife talk about this one. So this next one is called the marriage firewall. So talk about it.
Okay, so like I said, I believe that the fire represents the fire of God in our lives. The fire of God purifies, it protects, it keeps away, it keeps us, it guides us. It's a fire, it's a light, it shows us the way as well. Then the wall represents the physical boundaries we put in our marriages. Like for instance, my husband and I don't allow outsiders to influence, to control what we do in the house. They may influence in a positive manner, but at the end of the day, we are the ones that decide that this is how we want it,
right,
way we want it. Like for instance, our parents are quite opinionated, so they'll be like, "Oh, why don't you make your child do this or make them do that?" Or we're like, "No, this is our choice at the moment. We decide what goes in our home."
Yeah.
As in, we don't allow unfettered access to our children,
right,
even from family members. If anyone wants to say something to our child, they have to go through us.
Right.
They can't just come and sow their opinions in our children's lives. We monitor even their phone conversations with family members, with friends. Of course, we know we can't control everything, but at least as much as we can, we try to guide. We're not trying to be controlling, but we try to guide. Okay, this person says this, but you can also have, you have a free will to decide to do this way in a godly manner. It doesn't have to be what they said, but understand what our own family values are, what
Absolutely.
our own principles are.
Yeah.
So you don't just go with the flow with whatever it is they're doing out there. Our family is different. We are and our decisions must be based on God decisions.
Absolutely.
If you can't say it in front of our pastors, you can't do it in church, then it's not something that you need to portray to others. You have to be guided. That's the word for it.
Yeah, and that's the word. That's what we say.
Yeah.
If they're going left, we just tell them you need to be guided. They know exactly what that means. That means you need to get back into that boundary and all of that. And well, she picked out this graphic, and I'm a techie guy. I'm into telecoms and IT, so I understand what a firewall is from a computer point of view. But I like the way she described it, that it is fire, but there's also a wall. So the fire keeps and protects, guides you because it gives you light. And then the wall kind of keeps you in boundary. So there's something about boundaries as well. Like she said, we don't allow family members to just come and sleep in our house. If anyone calls and says, "Oh, I'm around," I can say, "Oh, don't worry, I've booked a hotel for you. Go to this place, sleep there. We'll come and meet you in the morning." We kind of keep our space very sacred. And that's what this marriage firewall is about. I don't know if you want to add to that from your end.
Okay, good. So similarly, we also have something very similar to what you described. And first of all, Yemi, thanks for really explaining that. And it was really, really good explanation. So for us as well, we do have guardrails in terms of the wall, and then we have we base everything on God, because there's this part of the Bible that says, "Teach up your child in the way he or she should go, and when he is old, he will not depart." So that is what we grew up with, and then we're also really imparting that to our kids. That said, we have guardrails as well as to who we open our doors to and who we allow to come in as well. So we live in Australia, and it's a big thing with the kids to want to do sleepover. So sleepover is a concept where a couple of kids will gather themselves up with their parents' permission, and they go and sleep
somewhere
for
else,
a day or for a couple of days. Now, for us, it's not a thing, because we observe from other people that we know that their family culture get adulterated. So whatever they've
Mm.
been building for 10 years, because of one weekend off, everything is undone and they have to start building again.
Again,
So
right.
we had that discussion to say, well, there is no sleepover for us.
Mm.
And of course, kids, they want to bring it up, but
Mm.
once we have our code language as well, they understand that, okay,
Right.
this is our family culture and this is it. What we have done, practically speaking, because we also want our children to have relationships,
Right.
no sleepover, but for every single friend that our kids have, we know them, we know the friends, we know their parents as well.
Their parents.
If
Right.
anybody is coming into their friend cycle, even before they talk to us. So it is very
Mm.
important for us to we are friends to our kids so that they can tell us
Mm.
anything and everything. And of
Right.
course,
Right.
the first question we are asking is, oh, okay, you want to meet this person. Who is this person? Once the name is mentioned, we know the parents already. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What we can do is, yeah, assemble 2, 3 of your friends coming, and then we host them.
Mm.
And then that's what we do. So that keeps the wall tight. And
Right.
of course, if anything, because we live in the world anyway, because
Yeah. Yeah.
everything
I
is.
get you.
So if anything happens, they bring it up, and then we have a discussion. So every
Mm.
opportunity to discuss. For example, you pick them you're doing drop-offs and pick up from school is an opportunity to discuss what happened in the day.
Right. Yeah.
When you're dropping them off, is an opportunity to hear what's the plan today. When you're bringing them back, is an opportunity to say what has happened today. And every
Mm.
day, regularity, we say that. And Damian and myself, if I'm picking them up, whatever happened during that transit, we're discussing it. If she brings that up, she's doing the school runs, whatever happens, we brief and then we discuss as a family. And so that's how we have actually been working with the marriage firewall. You can say that I focus a little bit more on the wall because the fire side of things has been in the
Mm.
foundation from the beginning.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
to add?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Put something. You said it all.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that said, right, let's go to the next point. And this is very important. How do you handle money? And I like this quote that I wrote here that says, no romance without finance. And it's something I heard from Pastor Tunde Bakari way back in the 90s. And that stuck with me because you and I will agree that 90% of issues that happen around the home has to do with money. And if you can settle that, you have a higher percentage of having a smooth life. I give an example. So that there was a couple that they keep fighting about toothpaste. Oh, you're pressing in the middle, you're pressing in the top, and all that, and all that. But hey, if you have enough money, just buy two. Let the husband keep his own toothpaste, the wife keep their own, and there will be no issue. Things like tissue paper, toilet roll, buy two if you have money. So again, a lot of issues will be resolved, once you handle money. From our side, right, we have this, and I think my wife mentioned something about transparency when we're talking earlier, in terms of we're transparent with our finances. She knows what I earn, I know what she earns. And there's this thing about society that says, oh, hide your stuff from your wife, don't let her know. We don't do that. And again, going back to the scriptures, if you remember in Genesis, the Bible talks about Adam and Eve were both naked and they were fine in front of God. That was some level of transparency. So
Yeah.
financially, we're transparent to each other. I have my account, she has hers, but we have a joint account. So when we have projects to do, we contribute into that account, whether it's big ticket items like capex, buying a car, buying a home, or it's operational expenses, how we run the month and everything. We have our percentages that we contribute. Of course, I have the lion's share because I'm the man. Of course, that's not being how do I put it, a male chauvinist on everything. It's just the fact that I am responsible. I am the man, I'm the husband. And I like the way somebody said it is a house band. So I'm in charge, right? And we're co-pilots together, but the responsibility is on me. So I take the lion's share of what we need to do. And there are times that if I am struggling financially and she has enough, she handles that as well, and we go smoothly. So I don't know if you do something similar or you have something unique you want to highlight when it comes to money. How do you handle money?
So with money, you said it. No romance without finance. That's really true. For us, let me first of all say we have we don't really have roles in terms of who does what.
Right.
However, however, when it comes to capital projects, I handle it. So we're talking
Yeah.
about capital projects, something that you like, something has dropped.
Yeah.
And then I handle it. When it comes to the ongoing operational things, even without me saying anything, Dami goes in there and handle it, settles it 100% most of the time. Now, what
Mm,
the reason why I started with no roles is there are times, for example, I'm passing through the shopping mall and I know we need groceries. There is nothing
mm,
stopping me. Go in there, buy
absolutely.
the groceries. But who does
Right.
the shopping? Dami does a whole lot of shopping more than me. If I'm passing, then definitely I'll do that. I need to order something
Mm,
for everyone. I'll do it. Dami has the opportunity to do it. She does it. Just like you
right.
as well, we keep individual bank accounts, but whatever we earn is very transparent. We also have a joint account. Just yesterday,
Mm,
we paid for something for our daughter, and that came out from a joint account. The only
yeah.
thing that I just want to say is, Dami, I'm paying this for our daughter, and I'm using this account. And she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. How much is it? Do we have enough there? And that's it. And then we paid for it. So it's just similar to
Mm,
what you are. In terms of being transparent, we know
right.
the world that we live in now. There is a lot of, I'll call it a request, family, friends,
Mm,
acquaintances. Most of the time, if people want to get to the husband, they go through the wife.
yeah.
If our wife does not have an idea of how much the husband earns, how
Mm,
does she make that decision to either block or keep warm or say no or
mm,
yes outright? So that is why it's very important to keep an open book as to what the couple earn. That's number
mm,
one. Number two, keep an open book about the projects that are upcoming.
yeah.
If
Right.
the if the husband is earning $100,000, for example, and there is a project that is $80,000, right? And there's a request that is coming that is 40, automatically the wife knows that, well, if we need to achieve that goal and we need to keep the home running, the $40,000 bill must be blocked. And then she
Mm,
does
mm,
all she needs to do. And that's our own, yeah. So transparency from day one, and also knowing. So if anybody is coming or any request is coming, she takes a very uh, decisive action on that as well.
mm,
I would like you to add to
mm,
that.
Yeah, you've said everything, but I'm a very practical person. I would just say
right.
that one thing I've observed is I am a spender, Shola is a saver. So I spend like I don't care. I'll just be like God will provide, God will provide, God will sort it out. But he is always like, oh, we need to save and all that. But like I was still telling him
Right.
yesterday, if both of us are both savers like that, I know, yeah, we would save more. But if both of us tend towards saving, to me, that's not living a balanced life. We still need to
Yeah.
like enjoy life. We work so hard.
Absolutely.
You work very hard. I work very
Absolutely.
hard. So
Absolutely.
what's the essence of working, and not sometimes enjoy what's
Yeah.
the dividends of whatever you've worked for. So
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to like reduce, because it's part of my goals for this year, that just to
Okay.
reduce the way I spend so that we can save more, because we're at that stage of our life where there are so many responsibilities, financial responsibilities coming from the kids. So we need to invest
Right.
into their
Yeah.
future. So I
Right.
think that's when we clash. Like, oh, you spend too much. Once,
Yeah, yeah,
once let me finish. Once Shola sees the delivery man,
yeah. I'm gonna say
oh my
that.
God.
Ah,
No, no, no.
you start
I
taking the
practically
balance.
work from home. I practically work from home, and then once there's a delivery, I'm like, come on, what does Danny
Who
bought this
bought
time?
this one again? No,
You
but I
know?
think the bottom line, I think the bottom line is about transparency. And just like you mentioned, as long as you're transparent, you have the same focus. There's something I learned about shared vision where we're going in this direction. And my pastor will usually give this example that you can have $1 million in your account and you're drinking Gary because you know where you're going. You understand? You want to say something?
So let me help you with the transparency. Is okay. So what we do is that every month my husband already has we have a plan. We have a budget for the month. So we have this going to this going into that going to that. And then we have miscellaneous. Do whatever you want with.
Right.
So we can do whatever we want with the miscellaneous.
Yes.
But we have budgets for, okay, this goes to this
Yep.
goes to that, this goes to that, and we have that every single month.
Yep.
My husband has spreadsheets from his secondary school days, which he still keeps.
Yeah.
He just writes everything. He's like, write the vision, write the vision and work with it. That's what we do. So the vision is clearly written. So I know that, okay, we're doing this month. Okay, so this miscellaneous, do whatever you want with it. So give her do whatever you want with it. I'm on your side. I mean, do whatever you want with it.
But listen, she didn't tell you
Within
that
reason.
she's the inspiration behind it too. Yes, I started keeping stuff when I was in secondary school about my finances, but she's an accountant, right? I remember the days I travel, she would tell me, okay, give me your expenses. How much did you spend on this travel? So she also helped me. Yes, like she said, I have 20 years of Excel spreadsheet of how much you spend every month as an individual. And then the moment we got married as well, I just kept it continuously. So what we do, like she said, is before the month comes, I would have drafted an Excel sheet of, okay, this is our expenses, this is what we're spending, and then this percentage is for do whatever you like, miscellaneous. So we put that there. So we make sure we take every other thing that we need to do. Payment to family, like you said, our kids are growing up, more responsibility financially to sort them out and all of that. So we put all of that there based on percentages. And then there's a percentage for miscellaneous. So I don't question whatever happens as long as we have done the big other things that we highlighted. Miscellaneous can go for anything. That's how we solve it, basically.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're alike. So I understand. Our story is also alike. How we got
Yes.
these women is also alike. So we think alike. Don't worry. We're together. I'm also conscious of time, your time in particular. So I just want us to go to the next. I think this is about the 7th slide. I think we have one more. So this slide is about teamwork, right? Again, this is a John Maxwell quote that says, "Teamwork makes the dream work." And I just added at the bottom, it takes two to tango. So from our side, we maintain a solid perspective when it comes to dealing with people. Like my wife said earlier, we don't allow opinions from outside when we're talking about the firewall. We stand together, we decide together, we do things together. Even when we're disciplining the kids, we keep a common front, when we do it. And then later she can come back and say, you were a bit hard on them, or blah, blah, blah. But at the time we're doing it, we keep a common front. And that's how we handle, the teamwork part. There's something I wanted to mention that I forgot about, and God just reminded me now. It's about one of the key things we did at the start. So when we met and we agreed we're going out and dating and agreed that we're marrying each other, we created a family constitution. And I think I wrote about that in my blog. We agreed, just like a nation has a constitution, our nation, the Lala family, has a constitution. I would say a lot of the things in the constitution I'm not doing yet, but we have it there as a guardrail to say, look, we're doing this, we're not doing this. Oh, this worked in our parents' marriage, we'll keep it. This did not work, we're not going to continue. So we had that stated. Even things like the school our children were going to go to, the type of school, the type of training, how we'll educate them. We don't want to interfere and say you must be a lawyer by force, things like that. We actually wrote those things down in our constitution, and every year we look at it and modify it and review and all of that. I'm still at fault to a lot of them, I would confess, but we still have the constitution there that we follow. So I just wanted to highlight that. So do you have anything you want to say about your teamwork and the things you
Dream
do?
work.
Yeah. So teamwork, dream work. Yep. We spoke about the foundation earlier on. So
Right,
apart from praying together, one of the things that we did was discuss. We discussed a lot. We talked about
right.
everything, every single thing, and then like yourself, we wrote a lot of things down that are still
Mm,
guiding us. It's more like our charter, which means
right.
they are not official.
Project manager.
They are not official things, but it's written on our heart. We remember every
Right.
single thing. So that has been actually guiding us in terms of how we work together. With the kids, we do everything together. So if we need to discipline the kids, for example, whoever is taking the
Yeah.
lead, we support each other. Even
Yeah.
if we have different
Right.
opinions, that will come later on. Our all the things we spoke about in the beginning. Sometimes it's
Mm,
a quick one. Sometimes it takes a long a long number of years to achieve,
mm,
right? And all those things, we just know that it takes two. We promised ourselves nothing, you know, nothing will break the bond between us. No matter how hard it
right.
becomes, it is
Right.
still the two of us, and that has
Yeah.
always been helpful.
Yeah, I think you've said it all. I was discussing with Shola, was it last night when we were trying to plan for this program? I was telling him that, communication has really helped us so far with our teamwork. Like I have
Mm,
realized over time that if I have good understanding of what he wants to do, like if we are on the same page, we are working towards the same goal. It's not as if you told me this just halfway, you did not tell me the remaining, and I don't have a
right.
clear picture. Once I have a clear picture of where you are going, even like if Shola has a meeting, maybe he wants to is bidding for a contract or something. Once it tells me by this time to this time, I will be meeting with these people, I am on my knees praying. I'm in the place of
Mm,
prayer
mm,
for him. And I've
mm,
realized over time that that works well for us because there's always speed. Things I
right.
don't know about, I can't help. There have been
Mm,
situations whereby, for some reasons, he would have forgotten to tell me some things, and it's after I would now mention it that, oh, I went for this meeting. I'll be like, I always feel angry that, oh, why didn't you tell me? And it was like, oh, it just happened
right.
suddenly like that. So I tell him, if you had told me this earlier on, I would have supported you, even if I can't really, really pray like that. But deep inside me, when I'm
Right.
at work, I can always, tap into the place of prayer and,
Mm,
intercede for you at that time. And we've come to the realization that when we are on the same page, there's always
yeah.
speed. Things just work
Absolutely.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always that
Mm.
smooth. So teamwork brings, it makes things work easy for
The
us.
dream
Yeah.
work. And basically, that's the design of God, actually. Not one person can get this thing done. You need two people. And I've looked at every endeavor in life. You hardly see anyone make it alone. There's this African adage. I don't know which African country it comes from, but it says, I think it's South Africa, I can't remember. But it says that if you want to go fast, go alone.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you want to go far, go with people.
Yeah.
It takes two to make it. And that's just it, because there are times that I'm strong, right? And then I cover her weakness. There are times that she's stronger than me and she covers my weakness. Even from a prayer perspective, you need two people.
Yeah.
she's fireized as she are seeing her like this, and that helps as well. When I'm going for stuff, I'm handling a project. The moment she knows about it, the devil is dead, in that
Yeah.
project and all of that. And I see it as well because I get to some places, I make decisions about stuff, I say some things, and I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but I actually
Yeah.
know it's this woman on her knees,
Thank God for that. Glory to
and I
God.
thank God for it as well, you know.
Glory to
Uh,
God.
okay, so I think let's just run ahead. Do you want to say something?
Um, I wanted to say that even economists believe in the power of synergy.
Economics, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as in one can achieve so much, but when it's two people, they can do better than what just two people individually would have done.
Right.
So even in the worldly sense,
Hmm.
synergy is still the way to go.
Absolutely.
So teamwork does make the dream work.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. So the next one is this last question. Now this one is going to be a bit deep. How do you keep it sweet and godly? So I'm asking questions now. Do you do date nights? Do you do romantic dinners? Do you go out for movies? Do you do dancing? I've seen you guys dance before, so I know you do that. But and then the other room things. Dammy mentioned it along the way somehow. But how do you keep it sweet and godly? I mean, I've been married to her for 19 years this year. We still run around the house. I still chase her around the house. We still pillow fight. We still grab each other and all of that. And it's something we've done over the years in terms of the same way I chased her when I was trying to get her, I am still chasing her, even though she's a married woman now. And that's the thing that some people, don't understand that, okay, marriage takes work, right? The two of you need to work on it the same way you worked on it before you became a couple. You have to continue working on it, year on year to get better. So those are the things that we do. I mean, we still go out on dates when we have time because, again, I'm a busy person and all that. We still have movie nights. Sometimes we take our kids and drop them at a friend's place, and then we drive off to go and watch a movie or eat out or whatever. Those are the things that we do to just keep it nice and spicy. And then about the other room, one fundamental rule is anybody can initiate the process. Yeah, it doesn't mean one person every time. I mean, people might think I'm joking, but there are times that I'm tired and she initiates it, and I'm like, okay, let's get this party started, and that's how we do, and we keep it hot and sexy, sweet and godly at the same time. So it's possible to be godly as well as have the other room. God, planned for everything to happen. So that's us. I don't know what you guys do as well.
Yeah, I'll say something and I'll let Dami say add to it as well. Yeah, we do have date nights. Yeah, so I put that in my schedule because business comes in. If care is not taken, I'll be in the
Yeah.
study from morning till evening. So I put that in my schedule. We do that on Thursdays, and every month I have a date night with Dami. We try to choose where we want to go, whether we want to go for dinner. Some we do that. Family dinners are there, and then myself and Dami as well. I also have extended that to the kids now. Actually, my daughter, she's now a teenager. Just really want to be in
Right.
a world myself and her alone. Okay, let's talk. I started, my son turned 10, and so I started with him as well to say, guy, let's
Mm.
go. Let's just go grab a drink, buy soda, and then we talk over that. So of course, we Friday is our movie night. We do that as a family, and this is what
Mm.
our kids really started. And then we do that with the kids, and we do that Fridays. Sometimes
Mm.
we make it very special, and sometimes we also kind of invested in a very good system that we can do that at home as well. Sometimes,
At home.
if we don't
Yeah.
have to go, we don't have to go to the cinema. Sometimes, so
Yeah.
we do that. Dancing. So one way for me to relax after a hard week is on Saturdays. I just put one of the classics, the oldies, and I dance.
Correct.
My, my wife can't see me dancing and not join me. And sometimes, unknowingly, unplanned, she brings a camera and then things are there. it's just a practice that has always been. So we dance a lot. In fact, at a point in
Right.
time when we used to live in Perth, people call us dancing couple sometimes because we don't dance the opportunity. And yeah, take over from there.
Yeah, I think we do date nights. We
Right.
do, yeah, it might not be necessarily romantic dinners because we just do date nights and we hang out. We do a lot
Right.
of movies, like Shola said. Watching movie in our house is equally like being in the cinema environment, sort of.
Right.
So I just,
Yeah.
when I'm coming from work, I try to buy like food, outside
Mixed
food, and
popcorn and all those things.
yeah, and just create that
And
scenario
the
for the that
atmosphere.
ambience for the family, and we watch movies, we
Yeah.
talk about the movies, and it's also a good time to interact with the kids as well. Then, like Shola
Mm.
said, we do a lot of dancing. We are big on dancing. We are a kind of couple that if you invite us to your party, we open the dance floor for you. There's we don't care. We don't care. We enjoy ourselves. We dance. It's
Right.
something. It's something we do together. I think when I met Shola, Shola has always been a dancing person. I learned that from him. He dances a lot. It's a
Right.
good, like, his family, they dance. If you see him with his siblings when they start, you will laugh. So I just
Right.
adopt that their family culture, and we
Right.
started dancing together, and we see that our friends, they love it, they admire that in us. And other room things we're trying, I'm improving. Like, I would say, I would say for me, Shola has a very high libido than myself, and
Right.
we sometimes clash when it comes to that aspect. For me, I may go off for like 2 weeks and I'm fine. But the day I decide it's my day, I go all the way because I believe in quality than quantity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's just me. And I'm always intentional about everything because my aim is, I'll say our aim as husband and wife is to make this family work. What I'm telling you
Absolutely.
became what I'm just saying lightly. There was a point in our life it became a very big issue, and I started talking to some of my friends that are married. That, oh, are you guys experiencing, like, ladies? Do you have low libido sometimes? You're just not interested in doing this thing. Some
Mm.
said yes, and these are the things I did. So someone, like, a lot of people mentioned watermelon, start eating watermelon. I would say it worked for me. I was eating
Okay.
watermelon as if my life depended on it. It
Depended
got to
on
the
it.
time when Shola sees me eating watermelon, he will be like, yes, so
Okay.
he's always happy when I'm eating watermelon. That action, action. So,
Right. Right.
that has worked for me. Anytime I eat watermelon, I'm always high like that. And you know what works for you. It may not work for the
Absolutely.
next person, but for
Absolutely.
me, it works.
Yeah.
And even the place of prayer, there's a family friend that we have, is an like a older friend, is a pastor in the US. I told him, and he said to me that, fine, you're dealing with the health side of it. It's something you can also start praying to
Mm-hmm.
God about, to put you into
On
that
the
mood
spiritual
for
side.
that.
Yeah.
What, yeah, when your husband, and that has, I've moved beyond that stage now. I'm okay now, but
Mm.
sincerely, there's always a time, especially for women. I don't know if it's hormonal or something. The body will just switch off. I think I
Mm.
experienced that stage and it was really bad at that time. I'm just saying this for the purpose of people that might also be experiencing it. And once we are intentional about it as women, that, okay, I want things to get better. Once your husband is pointing you to this path, you need to improve here. You need to be
Right.
receptive, be teachable, and work on it so that the family, the you guys will be happy together. Yeah.
One last thing before we move
Absolutely.
ahead. One last thing before we move ahead. Creating the environment for him. We all talk about the firewall, the word especially, right? One of the things we did in the early days is we don't need house help, we don't need family
Right.
members in the family.
Right.
If for example, if my mom or Dammy's mom was visiting, the first question is, how long are you going to stay? So you can come in for two
Yeah.
days, but when you want to leave, go back to your husband, and
Because
that's
we do
it.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, so we use code words a lot. Code words, Adam and Eve in the early days. You come home, you just become Adam and Eve. They are naked and they are not ashamed, and that is it.
Right.
When the kids started growing, we know we need to. So when we hear code words, school pillow, you know what that means, and then and then you code yourself, and then that's it. So these
Right.
are things that environment helps us as well.
Absolutely. Thank you
Right.
so much.
So
I think she
sorry,
has a comment.
I wanted to say that I totally support what Dammy was saying. You know, as women, we go through a lot of wear and tear, and at the end of the day, we're just so fagged out, and sleep is just the only cure for what's going on with us. You know, so it's not about. I think what men need to understand is that it's not that we don't want them. It's just that my body needs to recharge with
Yeah.
sleep. You know, so
Yes.
men should be a little bit more understanding.
I'll
Sometimes
compare
I
you to
just
sleep.
want to sleep. It is not about you. It's not that I don't love you. It's not that I don't want you. It's just I just want to sleep. You know, sleep cures a lot of things.
And
It cures a lot
Yeah.
watermelon.
of stress.
And you know what
Watermelon helps.
amazes me? You know what amazes me with these what did you use for it? The other room things. This thing we
Yeah.
are talking about, it makes the men sleep.
Yes.
Yes, and then keeps you awake for a little bit longer. Yeah, but so that
And
is
you
just
start
it.
tearing.
It is not you. It is me. As they say, it's actually not you. Seriously, it's not you. It is me. It's just that sleep. And the funniest thing is that if only that sleep can be complete, you know,
Mm,
it would actually make the other room things come better and faster. Because I just
exactly.
need to complete that sequence. You know, it's like a series.
Yeah,
You have to complete
yeah.
that series of sleep
You
just to
thank
get
you,
there.
yes.
So
Thank you
we're
for
sorry as
supporting.
women. We apologize. We are sorry, but it is not really about you. It's not you. Although we will go out of our way to, just, make sure that you don't feel neglected. We will try our best,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just understand that once in a while, that sleep is your
Is
gift to me. It's
important.
my love language. That should be a love language. The gift of sleep. It should be a love language. Yes, it should be a love language.
So
And sorry, I also like what you said about the when family comes or somebody comes, you're like, how long? I think I was really bad. I thought maybe I was slightly rude because I'm like, okay, sorry, how long are you staying for? I kind of ask in the first 5 minutes, and they come even before they say, I'm like, oh well, come on, how long are you staying? I just want to know,
Right.
partly because I want to plan,
Yeah.
and partly because you are not living here for life. I want
Yeah.
you to know that
Right.
you are here, and we put you in a guest room,
Yeah.
visitors room.
Yeah.
Our
Yes.
visitors room is can be comfortable, but if you're going to stay for too long, you will not
Can
want
become
to leave.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Wow.
we won't kick you out, but we just need to let you know that it is a guest
Guest
room.
room.
It's
Right.
not this is not your final place of abode.
Destination.
Yes,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
on your way. Okay.
Mm.
So when we don't refer to it as your room, we say the visitors room,
Right.
the guest room. So you are constantly reminded that you're a guest.
Right.
We will be gracious for as long as we need to be, but boundaries.
Mm.
Yes.
So you guys have said yours on behalf of the women. Let me say stuff about on behalf of
We are
men.
talk.
So the thing is this, right? I
Mhm.
think it's all about understanding.
Mhm.
And I would say that earlier part of our marriage, it was a big issue. But as we communicated more and got to understand, right, I also realized the fact that, okay, she needs this sleep because I know that if she completes the sleep, the other things room will be fantastic. So again, it's about delayed gratification for me as I got older, as our marriage got
Yeah.
older. So if she tells me, oh, you know what, I need to sleep, okay, I'll be like, no, Allah, but remember
Yeah,
tomorrow
me.
you're owing me. Once your sleep is complete, we are going full blown. and it happens, right? And the next day we
Yeah.
go and it's fantastic. So I also keep
Mm.
that in my mind to say anytime she says, "Oh, not today, I need to sleep," I know that the day after, once the sleep is completed, all guns blazing, and that's how
Fire.
we got about it. So it's about aligning and understanding yourselves and then getting
Yeah.
better. Another thing I wanted to highlight, and it's been practical the way you guys have communicated some of these things across, and I'm thankful for that because it's not every couple that wants to sit down and talk about it, but you guys have come out to be transparent to a large extent just to help others, and that's the idea for us as well. One of the things I saw that is consistent is that you always make mention of, oh, we were doing this before and we're still doing it now, and it's a testament to the fact that you guys have been faithful to each other and you have kept that foundation solid. I also remember when we got married, I think our honeymoon when we are going to Ghana, we went by road and it's a trip of about 12 hours, 11, 12 hours. We did not stop talking all the way. In fact, it got to a
Mm.
point, some other passengers had to turn like, you people should keep quiet. And we're like, sorry, we just got married, you know, for 12 hours, we kept talking and talking and talking. And that's still the same thing. Sometimes when I call her and we sit down, we can be talking and gisting, and sometimes the kids will come and be like, "What are you people doing? Come outside, come and play with us," you know. So it's been something that we've been doing from origin, and God has
Yeah.
helped us as well. So it's actually another tip: be consistent about the good things you've started when you started your marriage. So if you were chasing your wife at the time, you were hanging out, dinners and all those things, you have to continue as well. If you guys started with prayer and all of those things, you have to continue as well, because it's in that consistency that you keep your home, you keep your marriage. What we've talked about, firewall, we talk about a whole lot of things. Time is not even enough to get to some things, but we're just trying to touch the surface, and just give you highlights.
Sorry, I think we should mention communication because we did mention communication.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
Right.
You
Yeah.
cannot understand the next person if he doesn't talk to you, if he doesn't try to help you understand what's going into his mind. Women are not witches.
Yeah.
So they can't they can't read your mind. Women may try to understand you as much as possible, but we can't read your minds. And men too. They can't read your minds. Women, you have to talk to your husbands.
Yeah.
You have to talk to your husband. Only that one husband.
One husband.
You have to talk to him. You have to help him understand you better. You can't expect him to know. He should know. Why should he know? Do you know? So please, communication is key.
Right.
Very
Thank you
important.
so much. Okay, so this I think this is the last two this is the last two, and it's important that we talk about it as well. I know we've touched about our kids and all of that as an effect of a godly marriage, and there's something that comes to mind when God was talking about Abraham in the Bible, that he says that he's sure that Abraham will teach his children the way of the Lord. And I think Shola mentioned that scripture about training up a child the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So that is the after effect of having a godly marriage or having a godly relationship. The fact that God can trust you to raise godly children for the future. One of the things I do in terms of raising kids, because I understand that their world is different from mine. They're Gen Zs. I think we are way back Gen X or baby boomers or whatever as the case may be. One of the things I do, which is a tip, is I read my Bible in modern language. So I read it in the Passion, Message, Amplified, so that I can speak to them in that language. I don't want to be saying "thou sayest thee, thou to my son." He will be like, "What are you saying?" But I read my Bible in Message, in the Passion Translation, in Amplified, so I can use common modern words when we're conversing. And that helps him as well. And he also reads in those versions as well, so that he understands what the Bible means in his age, in this world, as opposed to New King James or King James. You understand? So that's another trick that I have learned to use over time. The last thing I want to highlight is about the seasons of marriage. Again, I got this from Dr. Gary Chapman as well, because he wrote about the 4 seasons of marriage. Of course, we in Nigeria, we don't experience 4 seasons. We only experience 2, right? Rainy season and dry season. But I understand the concept, which is about there is always the good side and the not so good side when it comes to marriage. Dammy, I remember you mentioned earlier that marriage is not a bed of roses. There is the up, there is the down, there are challenging days, but you need to learn how to do that. One of the points I wanted to highlight is this. Our parents, some of them, maybe when they fight, they don't let us know and all of those things. It's becoming something that children of nowadays now see, and then they feel that in their marriage they shouldn't fight. And the moment fight occurs, that means the marriage is not working and all that. That is not the case. We need to, as much as possible, of course, our kids are getting older. In a few years now, we're going to have two teenagers, as children. And we need to also let them know that, look, your parents are human beings. We fight, we bicker, we have stuff, but we'll resolve it and move on. So there is the good
Yes.
season of marriage, there's the not so good season of marriage. So I think that's the point I wanted to highlight here. I don't know if you have anything you want to add, guys.
Um, yes, yes, definitely. Quickly. So effects of godly marriage on children. Definitely, the foundation again is coming up strongly here because um, when the ones we are the product of what or the foundation that our parents laid, and our
Yeah.
kids are also the foundation, also the product of the foundation we laid for them. Um, I'll let them talk a little bit more about raising godly children. On the season of marriage, we've been together for about 15. And I can say the first 5 years is really all about really investing in our marriage. It was so beautiful.
Mm.
It was very beautiful. Within that span of 5 years, we have two kids. And we invested, especially mostly Dami. I'll say thank you to her. She really did well in those first few years because I remember the job I had there. I had to travel a lot. I was out of home for
Right.
a lot of time, go out of the country, and for her to really still hold a lot of the values we hold dearly, what is in our
Mm.
charter, all alone raising my daughter, our daughter at that point in time. So we are just available for the kids and everything. Second 5 years, I can say we moved from investment, or well, we still invest, but we move into transition because that was about the time we said, okay, cool, there will be a big change. At that point in time, our second boy, a boy is here, and two kids, and I needed to be available more, and so we
Mm.
make the big leap. We relocated, and that was within the space of 5 years. We moved three times. That's a
Wow.
lot. It was really challenging. It was a learning stage for us about the stability because everything cannot be stable. Newton's law of motion is
Mm.
you continue to move
Mm.
until there is a resistance to it and it stays.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we pivoted and then we prayerfully challenged that. And then the third stage where we are now is a stage of growth where we've seen a lot. We've dealt with it together prayerfully and financially and all those things. And we're trying to just empower ourselves. One of the things we tell ourselves is that we will be the best for ourselves so that our kids will be the best as well. So we are not slaving and say, children, children, children,
Mm.
children alone. We want to continue to grow financially, we want to grow emotionally, we want to grow
Right.
career wise, while we are teaching the kids to be
Right.
sustainable as well. And they need to do the same thing for us. And that's it.
Yes.
So, in
Yeah.
fact, we just want to be the best for ourselves so that the kids will be the best for themselves as well. And this is just what I'm going to sort of say in terms of the seasons of marriage. You can say the first 5 years was
Mm.
beautiful because, like you said, talked about
Right.
everything. The 5 years that followed was did not
Yeah.
so good because a lot of change, and then we brought stability by the grace of God, and we are still going strongly.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would just want to dwell more about that second season when there was a lot of challenges. I'm a very practical person. I will say it as it is.
Yeah.
We clashed a lot at that time because we had to start all over again. We are in a
Mm.
new environment. We moved to Australia, so which means that Shola had to start his career all over again, and which also means that It was more focused on that. It wasn't focused on me again. There was no more that lovey-dovey thing. It didn't happen. So it was always
Right.
focused. And he had some setbacks then. You are in a new environment. He was trying to break into the career here, and he
Mm,
couldn't. So you can imagine the worst thing that could happen to a man, especially a man that has been established before, and you telling him to start all over is not easy.
from the
The money
scratch.
wasn't
Right.
flowing as it should again. So automatically he would become an angry man, which he was then. And the marriage was really, really shaky. But one thing that kept us going there, Shola would tell me those days that, Dammy, no matter what, we will weather this storm together. Just be patient for me. And I believed
Right.
in him. And we were always
Right.
praying, even though we clashed, but we would always go back to how we started. And that kept us going.
Right.
And how we started was Jesus. And that was how
Right.
we weathered that storm, and we were able to overcome that phase.
Mm, mm. You want to say something? Okay, so what I want to highlight is the fact that I like the fact that Shola broke it down into 5 year segments, because again, that's like the way it happened for us as well. And what it brings to my mind again is the principle of team dynamics. When a new team is formed, there would always be that storming phase where you're clashing, things are not gelling yet. And then after you understand each other better, and then you get to a phase where you are now normalized, things are normalized, then you start performing. So it's the same thing that happens in a marriage, and that's what happened to us as well. The very first 5 years was fine, and all of that, but again, we got to a season where it was a bit difficult financially. I had to leave Nigeria when my son was 3 weeks old because I got a job in Congo consulting. That was the longest we've ever been apart. We were apart for 3 months. It wasn't easy. By the time they came to join me, I wasn't used to the baby crying. So I was always distracted and annoyed. And she's like, is your baby? He's crying for a reason. Come and carry and pet him. So we had that clash and all of that because I was focused on making everything work from a career point of view so that I can have money to support the family and all of that. So we went through, those stages like that. And the point is this: it is not smooth sailing. Marriage is work. You need to work on it. And the picture that comes to my mind is the picture of a duck that is swimming on a lake. On top, it looks like everything is gliding, but if you go down, the leg is doing like this. So much paddling is happening at the bottom. And that's the way marriage is. You put in so much to get to a point. I like the fact that you said that every time there's a clash, you go back to that foundation. And that's the reason, we're having this discussion, because if God is your foundation, as you go through life and challenges come, it will be your anchor and you will not drift off. For those that don't have God as their foundation, that's why you see a lot of times where marriages break after the first 5 years, because people are like, I don't know, I thought I loved him, but he's different now. They say irreconcilable differences, irreconcilable differences, that kind of thing. And I'm like, somebody that you loved and you stayed together, you are now getting to a point where you cannot reconcile anymore. And while we're talking, there was something we said jokingly to my wife, that in our generation, right, when electronics spoil, we fix it. You take it
Yeah.
and you sit down and fix it. In this generation now, when electronics spoil, you just change and replace, And maybe that's also why people are thinking about the fact that, oh, if it's not working in marriage, yeah, I just call it quits and go and grab somebody else, So again, those are the tips that you need to stick by it. There is the good times, there is the not so good time. The whole idea is this: common front, face it together. The good times, face it together. The not so good times, weather the storm and pass through, and there'll be light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that is a good point to highlight to everybody. It is work, but there is goodness, there is fulfillment at the end of it when things work out right. You guys are 15 years, we're 19 years. So we know we've gone through these phases before, and that's why we could sit down and share this with people out there. Just to go to the last slide as a way of wrapping up, we were singles before, right? It's Valentine's Day. A lot of people get depressed on Valentine's Day. because
Mhm.
no gift is coming, nobody to hang out with, and all of that. What advice can you give to singles out there? I know we've had our background story of how we met, the things we did, and all of that, but just a couple of advice that you can give to the singles out there in terms of how to get their person, their spouse that God has planned for them, and to live a godly and sweet marriage, so that we can just wrap up with that.
I'll start. Two things that I was just saying. Number one, invest in your future. Now,
Right.
investing in your future doesn't mean you spend money. For me,
Yeah.
I did two things. I prayed and I read a lot. I am the subject of marriage. I was really ready. And one action that I took while I was in UI was to buy a very small card. I bought it 5 naira. You know, in all our tomorrows, I'm committed, and I said I'm going to give it to the
Right.
one I'm going to marry.
Yeah.
And then Dan was the lucky one that got it. So that is one. Invest in your future. The second one is if you did the first one, it's going to make the second one clear. Know what you want, right? So once you know what you want, you will not be um, you will not be what's the word now? You will know, you know,
Mm.
and you may not be able to explain it, but you will know. So know what you want. You may not be able to explain it, but you will know. So those are the two things I'm going to say about advice.
Okay. For
Anything
me,
from Dami?
yeah, for me, I would say I
Because you're very
just
practical. So let me say that ahead. You're very
yeah, I'm
practical. So
very
give us
practical.
practical.
You will hear what I want to say now. I just want to say, use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to my mom. While I
Right.
was young, like my mom has just two girls. As young as I could remember, my mom would lay her hands on top of our head and she would be praying specifically for our future husband. I was
Mm.
young then, I was like in primary school. And I would say that laid a good foundation. I want to believe that laid a very good foundation for me. And
Right.
all our prayers concerning our future husband, even for my sister, where she is, the kind of husband she's married to, I would say it may not be 100%, but I
Mm-hmm.
count myself
But it
lucky.
contributed.
Yeah,
Right.
I count myself lucky to be married to Shola. Even my friends say it. They tell me, Dammy, you are so
Mm.
lucky. You don't know what you have. Thank you. Thank you for being my husband. Then I would say, then I will go to the place of prayer. My mom
Mm.
started with prayer, and myself too. I started, when she prays those days, I'll just be laughing and I'll be saying, Amen, Amen, Amen. But while I started growing up, I started praying too at that very young age for whoever my husband will be. Even though I was not planning to get married anytime soon, I was in secondary school then. But I would
Right.
pray when I'm praying, I would pray for that man as if, and I'll be laughing at myself that what is wrong with me? What am I even praying? Instead of me to be praying for my career, for my,
Mm.
the first thing that will come to my mind is pray for my husband. And the day I met Shola, the day Shola asked me out, that was the day I said yes. I didn't give it a second thought. I had
Mm.
peace. I knew it was the one because I
Mm.
prayed. I prayed. That
Right.
was always the number one prayer. And I just knew this was the guy. There was nothing to doubt. There was no what if. I didn't discuss it with anyone or somebody
Right.
that would suggest into my head that you better think about it. I knew. Shala was in how much were you earning then? 17,000 naira. And you offer me.
But I can offer you 200 naira when you visit for transport.
Not every time, not every time, please.
That was in the beginning.
Mm. Right.
So I would say the place of prayer is very important and apply sense to all
Mm.
singles. Apply sense. Even when you pray, shine your eyes. Like
Right. Right.
be sensitive in
Watch
spirit.
and pray. Pray
Very
and watch.
prayerfully.
Yes, watch out for red flags. There are a lot of red
Right.
flags. Don't close your
Right.
eyes that God is in control. God will change him. Watch and pray, just as you said.
Yeah. So
Right.
Dammy
Right.
mentioned something to me this weekend. She was asking a question: how can you recognize diamonds in the rough?
Mm.
So you went with dump side. There is a diamond there. It's not been processed. How can you recognize it? So singles find a way to recognize there is gold in certain people, but it's not been
Mm.
processed. How can
Mm.
you recognize it? Yeah.
Hmm. So, Shola, you are getting into deep waters. We will have to open another session for that particular question, because right now my mind is just thinking. You realize that diamonds initially, they are not sparkling. They are not in that format. They're actually black. They're like charcoal, right? It's actually diamond that, it's actually charcoal that sustains, that is under pressure, that becomes diamond.
Hmm.
And again, that might be another. See, I don't want to do another session of marriage talk. We dedicated February for this, and we've done justice to it, I must say. Do you have anything, babe?
Yes, I would say it again. Kudos to mothers. For as long as I can remember, I remember my mom telling me that when you want to fall in love, use your brain.
Mm,
Love is not blind. It really isn't.
mm,
You better look. Open your eyes very well. Of course,
Yes.
prayer is your foundation. Of course, God is your foundation. But you must go into every relationship with your eyes wide open.
absolutely.
Don't be fooled. Don't be deceived. Don't say that, oh, I fell in love, my head over heels. That's nonsense. Love with your brain.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you have just love and your brain doesn't follow, you're going to break down because you rationalize it out that after all, I haven't put much into it, or this relationship doesn't work. Then you start thinking after you have made the mistake.
Mm,
Yeah.
So please love with your brain.
mm,
Mm?
mm.
Then also, I would say don't do peer pressure. I always tell people I don't do peer pressure. You don't pressure me into anything.
Mm,
I don't do peer pressure. I don't do guilty conscience. Just because you're single now is just a temporary state. Do
absolutely.
not
Yeah.
make any decisions out
In
of desperation or
desperation.
all my friends are doing it. All my
Mm,
friends are in relationships.
mm,
I remember when I was in school, a friend of mine told me that the reason she was referring to me, she said the reason some people are not in any relationship right now is because they refuse to lower their standard. I was like, where's the insult in that?
mm, mm.
You just gave me a very good compliment
Yes.
because I realized my friends were going through lots of boyfriends and I wasn't interested in that. I'm like, why do I want to experiment so much? What am I looking for? If you don't have it, you don't have it.
Mm,
Period.
right.
So I had certain standards that I just refused to go lower than. It wasn't a ridiculous standard. It must be tall, dark, and handsome. It was just like you like intelligent guys. It must be intelligent.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't deal with people who can. I just can't deal.
I know what you
I
mean.
can tolerate you, I can be your friend, but if I want to have a lifelong relationship with you, then you definitely have to be intelligent.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have to be intelligent, okay?
And I think I made that point. I scored all those. I ticked it off, right?
Yes, including tall, dark, and handsome. All those things. So please enter every relationship with your eyes wide open and don't do peer
Yeah.
pressure. Be your own person. Know who God has made you to be. Have
Absolutely.
confidence in that.
Mm.
You are beautifully and wonderfully made. You are enough.
Right.
You are
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So you are a prize to any guy who gets you. You are a
Absolutely.
present. Don't make yourself cheap.
Mm.
Don't sell your
Mm.
goods early.
Mm.
Don't
Mm.
sell it.
Mm.
Make
Yeah.
sure he earns it.
Mm.
He waited 7
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to say after that. I'm just going to do like this and bow to you guys because you hit all the points. I want to thank you, especially Dammy and Shola, for joining us on this episode. Thank you for the sacrifice. I'm aware of your time zone and everything, but you still came up. The energy was high. I mean, we're clocking 1 hour 40 minutes now.
Wow.
And we didn't even know that time has gone like that. So thank you very much for this. And the good thing is that I'm going to have Dammy and Shola come back as separate guests along the way this year at different times. And so it will be double dose for me. But we will be signing off on this note to say thank you to everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. If you need to listen to this all over again, listen to it all over again. Get your notes, take down the tips. Let us know in the comment sections for both Facebook and LinkedIn where this group of Achievers Zone is, where this content will be dropping. Also, we'll be dropping the podcast after like a week. It takes time for us to process it, so we'll drop the podcast as well. So if you like listening to podcasts while you're running or doing other things, this is a good one for you to listen to. Again, I can't say thank you enough to you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the practical stuff, Dammy. Thank you for the intelligent project management, chatter, all the guru stuff, Shola. You know you're my guy, and I am so grateful for you turning up and supporting us in this episode. I don't know if there's anything you want to say in closing, and we'll take it and then we'll call it a wrap.
Yeah, just to say thank you to you as well, Shay. We've been good pals from a long time, and you've been so consistent. Thanks for all you do, and for the pillar behind you. Yeah, I mean, I was standing by you as well. You know, you guys are really a power couple, and we appreciate you as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. For me, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to share our story and to
Right.
be able. I believe this is going to impact lives by God's grace. And also, I want to say I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed this session so much, like very interesting.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Okay, so one more thing I want to promise. I'm not sure if I should say promise, but I'm working towards the fact that any session we're having next as a couple session will be face to face in the same room.
Yes.
Let's go.
So we're going to
My
take
God.
that as a target, right? So I'm not going to
Yes.
invite you for anything about couple discussion until I'm sure we can do this in the same room.
Yes. So
So
That's
we're
what
going to
was
work
it.
towards that.
yes,
Yeah.
100%.
See you.
Thank you so much. See
Thank
you guys.
you. Love to the
Thank
Love to
family.
you.
the family. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.